disasters sometimes happen on Blab. So we were just in the process of saying, welcoming everybody and saying, wee, welcome to the Friday Video Blab, and welcome on Facebook Live, which I'm chopping and changing between the two cameras, all you blabbers out there. And hopefully we might be able to get our friends back onto who are on Facebook or who were here on the earlier Blab, Ricky Arundel. And apologies, but today is all about the secrets of pro video production. And this wasn't very pro in a live stream, but it happens. So let's welcome to today my fantastic new friend who is a pro video producer, who's going to share with us some when and why to go pro, some little secrets of the pro production, what all the lingo means, and how they keep everything secret so we have to hire them for our video pro production. Hello to Remi Daniel. Hey, Remi.
Hi. Hi, I can. Oh no, sorry. Yes, that's a problem Remi, with your connection there.
I can see you, Remi. I can see you on Blab, and I can hear you perfectly. If everybody else can.
Yeah. Okay. Great. But
can you hear me?
Sometimes we just lose you, and the audio from
it may be
not so great.
Yeah, I'm getting the same, Remi, with you as well. So it's saying that the connection, it's saying on Facebook that the connection is weak. Now I've checked my Wi-Fi, and I have super fast Wi-Fi, so I'm not sure why the connection is going weak today. Okay. But let's go for it anyway, Remi. As soon as we're here. And Tony, thanks for joining us back on Facebook there as well. Please, Tony, can you tell Ricky Arundel, and can you also tell Marie Nugent-Smith that we're live back on Blab again? I'm going to post the new link into Facebook because we've lost you. Remi, while I'm doing that, why don't you tell us your story and how, because it's really interesting how you got into from where you were to music to music production to video production. Tell us how you got into it, Remi.
Well, thank you very much. First of all, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to come live on your show. And also I want to thank everybody who is joining up and who will be joining up later for giving us part of their time to spend time with us. So my story is very long, but I'll try and make it as short as possible, maybe tell it in about 2 minutes. So I am originally from Nigeria, and I was an accountant from the start. Then I've always been fascinated, with stories and with history, if you like, and music at the same time. So I worked as an accountant for a year, and because I wasn't really happy with my job. I mean, the pay was good, but I just was not very happy with the job I was doing. I didn't see it as my calling, if you like, and I wanted something better that will reflect me and who I am, not just a regular 9-to-5 guy, who not style in the morning, go to work and come back in the evening, and so I've always been into photography also. Even before I became an accountant, I had been actively involved in photography. And so what I did was I left accounting and I went to study photography for like 1 year, and just to go into that professional field. And after that, I set up a photo studio, and I was lucky enough to run that successfully for 10 years before I left Nigeria So we're talking between 1995 and 2005. I was a professional photographer, and then I came to Ireland in 2005, and so it's a different environment now, and everybody.
Very, very different place, I'd expect, in 2005 for you here than it is now, Remi. I know myself, I was here around the same, arrived here the same kind of time, and it was a very different world now. I think there's a lot more options for people now. So, Remi, was that when you set up your music studio and you were doing the music production?
Yeah, because I've always also played music alongside. I played all music instruments, you know. So when I came here, most of the people in the African community, they love music, but not many. We didn't have many African musicians, if you like. So I had this. My immediate job was to help them, to teach them how to play music, but I didn't have a degree in music myself, and I just learned to play music by ear. So in order for me to be able to teach other people, I had to go back to college. So I went back to college here and I studied sound engineering, so I can have a little bit of background of the theory of music. So I did that. And after which I now set up a recording studio in Dublin.
Is that why? Because actually, one of the questions I wanted to ask you about the secrets of video production is, does it really help you, having come from recording, to be really top of your game when it comes to the sound for videos? Because I know that that's one thing that everybody always talks about, is you've got to have really great audio quality. And I know sometimes we live stream, that's the joys of live streaming. But when you're doing pro production, why is it that the sound is so important?
Oh my gosh, sound is everything. Okay, so let's look at, so I think all the jobs I've done since 1995 is all coming together, all coming to play now. Can you still hear me? Are you there? Okay.
I've just got on mute, because for anybody who's watching us, part of the reason if I break eye contact with you, Remi, here through the camera, it's because I'm reading messages, or I'm sending messages to people, or replying to questions that people pop up in the chat room here. So yeah. So tell us why when you're doing your recording of your videos, now live stream is a different ball game, so we're not going to get into that today. But when you're you were just about to say why the sound is quite so important for us and for listeners, really.
Sound actually is one of the most important things when you are doing video, like what we are doing right now. The sound is awful, but so that should answer part of your question, because we can't hear properly. The audio feed is not so great. So if you look at a photograph, if you look at the picture, people say a picture says 1,000 words or something like that, and so you can tell a story about a picture, and then if you just take the picture off and just listen to radio, which is just basically audio and no picture. So you as the listener, you are not creating a picture in your head. So if you are not trying to merge the two together, photography and radio, so the picture and the sound, if you try to merge them together and try to make it motion, it's a different ball game entirely. Okay, now I've lost you again. I just want to be sure that I'm not talking to myself.
No, I can hear you. I can still hear you, Remi. And if it jumps in and jumps out, you just keep going, because you're a host on it. I'm going to make you a host again. So you just stay in the Blab. If it loses me or I lose you, because this is what's been happening occasionally with Blab recently, is that people have been jumping in or jumping out. So I'm going to make you a host just in case we lose it again. And then that way we can restart it.
So now, if you are doing a video, the most important, one of the very important things you need to put together, apart from the content that you're trying to create, is the sound. Because you need to get your message across, properly to keep your audience to yourself. And so the key thing in video production is the content, and what do you want to, why are you filming? Why are you showing us this video, this clip? Why do you think anybody should see this? So the content is number one thing. And who are you targeting? Who is your audience?
Actually, I was seeing got bad sound here. Let's get off the sound topic. And let's get into the secrets. Like, what do we really need to know? What are the pro secrets? So we've got to make sure content is king of what we're sharing. But then if we've decided to DIY or go pro, I'm going to come on to that conversation in a minute. But what are the key things when we're thinking of recording a video, whether it's going pro or DIY? What do we need to know to help ourselves?
That's not a very difficult question. What you need, everybody has a phone, a smartphone. I think almost everybody has a smartphone. So you more or less have the equipment with you. And some of these smartphones come with fantastic microphones and, resolution, on the video, on the camera resolutions, if you like. So you have the tool, you have the equipment, that can do a professional job for you if you know how to use the equipment that you have on you. So you can do a very great job with your iPhone, and you can do a very bad job with it at the same time. So that's number one thing. And
I know, Remi. Last week we were talking with photographer Edward Barber about framing and focus. And the formatting of your video. So if we've all got, let's say we've all got a smartphone. It's everyone as well as being live on Blab here at the same time. If we're pre-recording, so you mentioned that if you know how to use the tools, but surely the only way to know how to use them is to have a go than a DIY.
Well, So
we've spoken about framing and so on beforehand. So let's think about the content, bringing the tool of your smartphone and your content together.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you, because you were talking to me about video pre-production, planning, storyboarding. Tell us about the stories.
First of all, so we're going to filmmaking now. So this is a kind of this is a collaborative art. It's not it's not a one-man's job. You need a team to work with you, and you first of all need to tell your story to the team that you're working with, and they need to understand where you are going as a director or a producer, or both of them if you are doing both. The team, your cameraman, your assistant director, your sound man, everybody in the team needs to know where you're going with the story, and And so you know, discuss, you have production meetings, a series of meetings, and have your schedules. Location is very important, and location also depends on solely on what the story is all about. You don't just go and pick any location because it's beautiful. No, sometimes it's not about the place, it's about the story. All the time, it's always about the story because you don't want to lose the audience. So we're talking about content, we're talking about the team that you're playing with, and then we're talking about the equipment, the lighting, the sound. And before you even come to storyboarding, you need to get a team together. But if you can't get a team together, which is usually very hard, you have to do most of the things yourself. So you need to be well, maybe advanced in what you want to do. You need to be able to do most of the things. You might not be perfect, but you need to be able to do most of the things yourself. And then if you find somebody to help you, then it's all good. Then you'll be able to tell them how you want to go about it. So it's a very broad subject that we're talking about. I will.
Remi,
it will help if you are very specific.
Sorry, Remi, can I
questions? Yeah, let's be very specific about exactly what you need.
Okay. Yeah. So I suppose because what I'm hearing there is this is really the difference between deciding if you're going to invest in going pro and when you should definitely do that. Like what types of videos, if you're pre-recording videos for your website, for your business, to boost your business online. So when should you go pro? When can you do it yourself? Because you're talking about a whole team of people that most people don't have that team. So yes, we do need to practice to learn to do it ourselves. And I think for me, it's always the social media or the live streaming is a good place to practice and have a go on camera and get used to using it.
So if you want to interact more with your clients.
But then when should we go?
When you should go pro is when you decide that you want to take your business to the next level. Like you want to become more accessible to your audience or to your clients. You want to become more interactive, and you want to be you want to bring out yourself more, make yourself known better than just maybe you want them to see the human side of your business or the human side of you. That is when I will advise that you invest. Because not everybody needs to go pro. If your business does not need that, you can hire somebody to, there are many production companies around. You can hire one of them to do a corporate or promo video for you to use on your website, on your social media platforms. And you can now kind of do that maybe once in 6 months or once in a year, if you like. It depends on your budget. But there comes a time when you feel that you need to become closer to your clients, and you want to want them to feel the everyday experience of your work, what you do, how you do it. And I think the people now appreciate that.
On that one, a lot of people would say that you can do that by doing live streaming, or that you can do that by doing quick 1-minute tips on Facebook Live video. There's a lot of people I know, business people of all levels, who successfully do that. So what is it about why is hiring the pro production team, and what specific business videos should we do that for? Why are you helping us connect better with our clients? What are you producing for us the other end that we can't produce ourselves?
Well, if I was to help somebody, most of the mistakes I have seen that people who try to do this by themselves is that they come across, they have these fantastically done videos, very high profile, high resolution, high definition videos. And it's all talking about themselves. It's all talking about how good they are. It's all talking about their business. It's talking about where they started from and how they've made profit and the clients that they've helped along the way. You know, I think no, it does.
We don't care about that. We want to know what you can do for us as viewers.
Yeah.
So do you help people find that story?
Yeah, so people really don't. People have become bored of listening to how good you are. They want to know, how can your business help me? How can I benefit from this? Because you know, people, you know, we are inherently selfish. Everybody, you know. So if I come across and I want to do a video for you, I am not going to be doing a video for you about how good you are in what you're doing. I'm going to be doing a video for you on I'm going to be looking at it from your audience's point of view, because they need to see that connecting with you will help them. So there's no way I'm going to be saying, oh, I'm boosting you in a way that Lottie Hearn is great. She's a great speaker. She does this. But it's not even going to come up on the video. It's going to come up on how the value of your work, how will it resonate with the man on the street, the person you are going to connect with. So I'd rather go talk to the person that you want to connect with and find out what they need, and then see how I can form a story or the content of the video with that.
Remi, is that one of the tools that, as a pro production teams offer, is they can go and do some of the research for you to find out what your viewers want from you?
Yeah, that's number one key. So you are trying to create the content now. So the content, you know, people think you can sit down in your room and just write something down. No, it doesn't work that way. The content comes from what you pick from, you know, from the street, from the people that you've spoken with, and it depends on what you're looking for. You need to have a clear goal of what you're trying to achieve and what you are looking for. So that's where you pick your content from. Yeah.
And then I know we were talking about, because I know there's a lot of very techie, like if we do decide to go pro, there's a lot of very techie language. And actually on my on the free documents that I give away on ConfidenceOn.Camera, the website, one of them is all about the techie language. And there's things like,
okay,
what's the difference? I'm just going to post one of those links here for everybody so you can go and have a look. The sort of broadcast TV language. So what is a storyboard? What's the difference between pre-production, production, post-production? How do you help? Like, why is there such a producer language or TV language that makes it sound like it's so complicated?
Okay, so the pre-production part of the project is all about the research, the cast you want to use, the location, and the budget, and the equipment, and all the things that that come into that. And the time also is very important. How long is it going to take? When is when are you supposed to deliver this project? Turnaround period. How long is it going to take? So those are all the things that come into pre-production. And sometimes
planning there. So then production.
Yeah, you wanted to say something?
Pre-production basically is all of the planning. Because a lot of people realize that when you're in a pro-production team, part of what you're getting is help before, then you get the shoot, And then there's all the help afterwards as well. And realize when they go, oh, it's so expensive to make a video with the pro production team. It's because of this process. So you help with the pre-production or the planning. Then what actually is the production and the post-production? If you're going to do them as a term, what's the terminology for what does it mean when people talk about production and post-production?
Well, so it depends on the size of the project, and if it is a huge project, like that you are going to need to hire actors and actresses, and you need different locations.
Small video. We're talking
yeah,
small
exactly.
business video,
So
mostly talking heads to camera.
If you're talking small business videos now, like 2-3 minute promo video, that is not actually very hard. You just need to discuss your script or your content with the client and make sure that they are happy. I need to let most clients are, you have to. They might not see things the way you see. So you have to bring your skill and your expertise into this and let them see where you're coming from and how this is actually going to help them to reach their target market. So it's and then things become easier if you and your client, the production, the video maker and your client, if you get along well, then things become a lot easier that way. But if your client is not happy with what you have brought and you keep going back and forth to change things, that might delay stuff, and that is not a good sign, so if you are not be able to impress them. So coming back to the production is actually not the most difficult part. The most difficult part usually is the pre-production period, because that is when a lot of prep have to go in, and it takes months sometimes to prepare for a small project, just because we want to get things right. So pre-production is the most important. If you get things wrong, if you get something wrong in the pre-production, you're almost certain that the result at the end is not going to be great as well.
Done your pre-production work properly, you're not going to get the production, which is the making of the video, the story, the video shoot and the filming. That's not going to flow easily and work easily on the day.
Yeah, it's going to tell. It's going to tell on the end if your pre-production, if they're sending something that is wrong, if something goes wrong in the pre-production process, and you didn't take care of it before you go into production, you are going to come back. It's going to haunt you when you're doing post-production, and it's going to really affect the final results. So pre-production is very, very important. But
been there, done that. So then, Remi, tell us. So what in a nutshell? Then what is the post-production? What does that entail? Because people always wonder why there's so much money. I say to people, if you've done a day of filming, it's a minimum of 2 to 3 days editing just to even look through and sort through the footage, even for a 3 to 4 minute video.
Well,
so tell us about post. What's that?
Well, so the post-production is when you go through all the hundreds of hours of footage that have been recorded, and now you are trying to bring the story together as the director wants it. So most of the times, the editor and the director will be working together, and most of the times, the director is also the editor, because he has a story in his head and he knows how he wants to tell his story, and be it a promo video or a feature film or a documentary, the director is always the key, and he wants to tell a story. Every director has a different style of telling their stories, and this is why the post-production is very, very good. So if there was a problem in pre-production which has not been taken care of during production, the editor is going to be having a nightmare trying to put the story together, because then you're going to have a lot of serious problems that cannot be taken care of And those kind of mistakes can be very costly, because sometimes you might, even if you want to go back and reshoot, you might not get the same weather, you might not get the same, you might get the same actor or the same model, but they might not be in the same frame of mind. Getting somebody to come and repeat a scene. Yeah,
I suppose for small businesses, when we're doing it ourselves, or we're working like one-on-one with you, like we can work, like I know you do with your documentaries, you do a lot of just one-on-one, because you're the producer, the director, the editor, the camera person, you do everyththing. And often when we're DIYing, we do that ourselves. I know for myself, I'm every hat goes on this head. And the editing can be the one that takes the long time. So the post-production is the review of all the footage to create the video story, and may include all of those people and you. But then why? I know that I always say to people, again, there's free help on my website ConfidenceOn.Camera with the editing sheets, storyboarding. So why is that? What storyboard? And what is an edit sheet, and how do they help your production team?
Okay, so well, one of the few things that you need actually when you finish your recording or your filming is you log all the footage. You log. There's something we call log sheet. You need to log all the footage and number them, and you know what happens where, and the duration of that footage, and so you know what you're looking for. That's a very handy document for the editor to work with. Otherwise, you get lost in hundreds of this lengthy footage that you don't know what you're looking for. So when you have a log sheet, everything is there, and then you have a plan on what the duration of the whole of the promo that you're trying to do for your business at the same time. So I think coming back to the most important thing really is what your client wants, because we're talking about the business. So if you want to do it by yourself, you want to make sure that what you are putting together, the little clips you are putting together, which most people will call the A-roll, which is what the original footage that you recorded, will suit what you are trying to achieve. And then we have the B-roll, which is cutaways, and to just kind of supplement the footage that you already have. It's a kind of alternative footage that will help tell your story better. So that is one or two things that you need. And if you have a good editor, that shouldn't be big.
Sorry, on that one. You're just saying that we've got our storyboard, the visual plan of what you want to put together to create the story. You were talking about A-roll and B-roll. You're getting into technical language here that people may not have heard of before. So A-roll is the main camera.
That's the original footage that's like the interview. If you are recording this now, this will be the A-roll. This is the original footage.
A-roll. And then B-roll and C-roll, are they like, is that a second camera, or is it shots that you take outside, like other visual images that you're going to put into the story? Is that what the B-roll is?
Most of the times it's the same camera, because not many people can afford 2 cameras or 3 cameras. So one camera can do all this, but you just need to have a plan. And from your pre-production, again, you need to have a plan of what you need in your B-roll, and that is based on the story you are telling, and you need to have some pictures to go with the stories as it's been told, and just to keep, just to lock your audience in, and you don't want to lose them. And one thing you need to bear in mind is that the attention span is so low these days, and you've got less than 30 seconds to hook your audience in, or they just flip through and go to the next available thing. So you got 30 seconds. The first 30 seconds of your final production is very essential. You need to be able to get your audience in, and after that you lose them. So so the B-roll is very important. You need to most of the times the narratives of what they're saying it plays more bigger role than the story you are telling, than the voiceover. So they need to see picture, they need to see this what you're trying to do, and they are very intelligent, and they can decide that, oh, this is what that means, this is what this means. But if you don't have all this footage,
so your B-roll is adding the narrative. It's the extra shots that you have there. So then because a couple of other questions that people always ask me is, people say, Lottie, what do you mean by a take? What does that actually mean? It's all the secret language. And what do you mean by, what's a lav? What's a lapel mic? There's all these secret things. So what is a take then? We have take 1, take 2, take 3.
I would say right now we have done about 3 takes, even in this conversation that you and I are doing, because the first time we tried, there was maybe we lost you, and then you came back, and then we do it again. So if you are interviewing somebody and you ask them a question, and even though they answered, but that's not what you are looking for. Maybe you want them to answer it in a way that the audience will understand. You might do a second take of that question and ask the question again, and that's for interviews. But if you are creating a scene and you have actors playing that on that scene, it's always better to have at least 3 takes, because there's always something. It depends on the actors also. Even if you are dealing with best actors, I will always suggest you do a second take, because there's always something you can use there to put your story together. So takes are done.
Say how many
if the director is not happy. Yeah.
When people say how,
I would say 2 or 3, at least. If you are working on a scene, on location, and you know that you've got only one chance, especially if you are paying to use this location, and if this weather is, you might not get this weather again, and you are paying this cast to do this job for you, and if you can't get them back, you might have to pay them again. So do 2 or 3 takes, and keep that in your drive. You might use them, you might not use them, but you will be grateful that you did. So it's always very important to have more takes. Even if they did it right, just do it again. I hope you're still there.